First meeting of the year between the Braves and Phillies. Joe Simpson and John Smoltz back with you. And John, as we mentioned, Tommy Hanson gets the start tonight. He didn't fare too well against the Phillies last year, but what's he got to do to win tonight?
Well, he's got to attack those left-handers very cautiously. What I mean by that is Tommy's numbers against right-handers are ridiculous. He handles them well. But you look at the, brief 7 innings. He didn't have much to do with the games, the rain out, as you say. But Ryan Howard coming into this campaign only has 2 walks. I normally wouldn't say this as a pitcher, but he's going to have to pick his spots to walk some left-handers because they are so potent. You want to keep the damage to a minimum. So those left-handed hitters, pitch them with caution.
Well, Ryan Howard certainly was not pitched with enough caution last year against the Atlanta Braves. He was the one guy that almost was a one-man wrecking crew. In fact, he had 3 games out of the last 7 against Atlanta where he hit at least 2 homers. That's mighty impressive.
Well, it is impressive, and his numbers are always going to be up there for MVP-type candidate. And again, when you're facing a guy like him, you got to establish seeing if he's going to come out aggressive, can you get him to chase your pitches? If not, walk him. That's the thing you have to do, and he's going to have to see how disciplined he stays because last year he had too much success in a short series here at Turner Field. Cannot repeat that.
The Braves last year controlled Shane Victorino and Jimmy Rollins at the top of the order. Rollins is on the DL. Don't have to deal with him. But it's Tommy Hanson against these Phillies coming up next. When the Braves and Phillies hook up, it always warms things up a little bit here at Turner Field, so we'll hope for dry conditions in what should be the first of a great series. Time now for the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry Big Smile seat upgrade. JJ's found some lucky fans and is now upgrading their seats. Check them out. They're excited. Keep watching to see where their new seats are located. Sponsored by the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry. Now let's take a look at the batting order brought to you by Stone Mountain Park, an Evergreen Marriott Resort. For great getaway packages, visit StoneMountainPark.com. Shane Victorino, Placido Polanco, and then Chase Utley, the first 3. Utley off to a rip-roaring start, as you see. Then Ryan Howard and Jason Worth. Ibanez, Castro, and Ruiz follow him. Kyle Kendrick is the pitcher batting 9th. And on the mound for the Braves will be Tommy Hanson.
Tommy Hanson wants to come out and establish himself in the first inning. You see his numbers, 2 starts. For all account, it could be 2-0. Really good job against left-handed and right-handers. His numbers are as follows. Left-handers are only hitting .238 in the early campaign, and right-handers .158. So it's going to be a job that he's going to go through these first 4 left-handed hitters. Oh, by the way, 14 RBIs, 12 RBIs in the front of the order.
Top of their order, really getting it done. Victorino 7 for his last 21 to get his average up to 231. Takes the first pitch of the ball game high. 3 homers, 11 RBIs for Victorino. One and one. Last year I mentioned as we were going to break that the Braves really took care of Rollins and Victorino at the top of the order. Those two guys combined last year only hit $158 against Atlanta, and combined in 18 games they only scored 11 runs. Out of play. Braves won the season series 10-8. They were the only NL East team to beat the Phillies in a season series.
Well, and Shane Victorino, already with 11 RBIs, only hitting 231. He's got 3 home runs, which maybe not known for the home run, but maybe he's trying to swing a little bit more for the home run. It is key to keep him off the bases, as you said.
Stays alive there, 1 and 2.
He's one of those guys that drive you nuts, too. He might get that 11, 12, 13 pitch at bat and just cause you to just surrender and throw one in there so he can put it in play and have a result one way or the other. But Tommy's coming in, firing fastballs up, down. Look for him to maybe pound in a little bit.
There's a back to a breaking ball and just missed. 2 and 2. Tommy's last start of beauty against the Padres. He beat them 6-1. 6 innings, 4 hits, just 1 run allowed. He did walk 4, but he struck out 7. Two pitch fouled back.
When do you think I'm going to get my first play? Those two are close. Am I going to get one?
It's coming. Yeah. I'll be counting on you, too.
I'm nervous about it, to be honest. Do you stand up? Do you just let it come to you?
No, you kind of stand up, get ready. Try to keep it from hitting on the counter and coming up and then hitting you in the lips. Popped up foul again. He is battling here, and that's the 7th pitch of the at-bat already.
And see, to our point, I mean, that pitch right there, more than likely, that's the best he can do with it. And as a pitcher, you're going, do I lower it? Or do I stay right there and see if I can get a pop-up in the infield?
Curveball missed high again, full count. He's a good fastball hitter, that's for sure.
Correct. And what I like about, if Tommy can get hitters to swing at that pitch, it brings his curveball way into play. He'll get a lot of free looks, and it'll be strike calls rather than swings and misses.
Almost. A little low.
Tell you, it's meant to be today.
Yeah. Going to be a 10-pitch at bat, at least, for Shane Victorino. Phillies have lost 4 of their last 5. The Braves have won 4 of their last 5. Deep to right. Hayward had him played perfectly, though, and he's there. 1 away. The Phillies last year won 93 games, 93 and 69. They won the National League East, finishing 6 games ahead of the Florida Marlins. And they did a lot of damage on the road, John. They went 48 and 33 on the road.
And I'll tell you what's surprising when we share some of the numbers, just the amount of home runs they hit on the road. You would think that their share of home runs would come in that nice confines of home.
Yeah.
But it didn't. A lot of guys hit a lot more home runs on the road, and it just shows to their well-balanced the way they can attack every ballpark with their power and speed.
Well, this is a great addition to their ball club, a guy who comes back to the Phillies. Placido Polanco, solid major league hitter, career 300 hitter. Comes into the game tonight hitting .396 and leading the National League in hitting on the road, as you see. He's got 2 homers already and 4 doubles, and he's driven in 12. Right by him.
Well, he's hitting currently early on. You know, you hate those early on numbers, but you got to report him. .415 off of right-handers. And this is a good opportunity to split those left-handers and get your right-handers out in this lineup. That's essential for Tommy. He's got to make sure he handles the right-handers. And another guy that can foul off a bunch of real good pitches.
As he did there, still 1 and 2. Right-handers against Hansen on the year, just 3 for 19, a 158 average. There's Polanco's numbers and his splits. Off to a great start. And filling in nicely in that 2 spot in the order.
Oh, no!
Didn't go, apparently. The Braves asked for an appeal, but didn't happen. 2-2.
If you're Brian and or Tommy and you're looking, that ball is good 6 inches outside and you got the attention of the hitter, you might want to try to steal a strikeout by throwing a slider or curveball out there and just see if he continues to reach out there a little bit farther.
Front door slider. Froze him. Polanco didn't like the call, but a good pitch for the strikeout. And here's the defense behind Tommy tonight. In the outfield, Diaz, McLeod, and Hayward. Third to first, Jones, Escobar, Prado, and Gloss. And as you can see clearly, Brian McCann doing the catching. And here's Chase Utley. A lot of people picked him for the 2010 MVP before the season started, and he's not disappointing any of those prognosticators. 6 homers already. And he's drawn 13 walks. Comes in hitting .341 with 12 RBIs. It's a strike, 1-1. I guess Aprils and good starts are not foreign to him, though.
No. 23 homers and 225 at bats the last 3 Aprils.
Good fastball hitter himself. Loves the ball down and in. Slider missed. Saw a little bit of smoke floating across the right field area and into the stands after the celebration of the strikeout. Two and one. Got in on him. 2-2. 95 on that fastball. Tommy Hansen, third in the voting for Rookie of the Year last year. Jay Happ, who had been scheduled to pitch in this series, finished second. Two. It's tied. .21 pitch inning, but nobody on base. Love to have that guy lead off next inning. Payoff pitch to Utley. In the air to left center. McLeod got a good jump on the run. He's got it. Took him a few extra pitches, but Tommy Hansen has a 1-2-3 first inning. That's a good start. Back with the bottom of the first. Phillies go 1-2-3. We go to the bottom half of the first inning and check out Bobby Cox's starting lineup tonight. Matt Diaz had 3 hits Sunday in the leadoff spot. He remains there, followed by Martin Prado. And Chipper Jones, who had a good series against the Rockies, went 4 for 10 with a homer. McCann, Gloss, and Hayward follow him. Jason moves up to the 6th spot, bottom third of the order. Escobar, McLeod, and Tommy Hanson. On the mound, 25-year-old Kyle Kendrick out of Mount Vernon, Washington.
Well, there's the bad news for Kyle. The good news is he's got a lot of time to recover and get those numbers turned around. But left-handers are hitting way too high, 563. The overall average is 444. And unlike the Phillies, where a lot of the damage was at the top of the lineups with RBIs, he's going to deal with most of the RBIs being in the bottom of the order with Hayward and Escobar. So we'll see how the Braves fare against early struggles from Kendrick.
And Matt Diaz takes a strike. Again, 3 for 5 on Sunday. Raised his average up to 222. Led off the game with a triple to put away any thoughts of a back-to-back no-hitter from a Rockies pitcher. 0-2. Kyle Kendrick, 6'3", 215. He's in his 3rd year, spent most of last year back in AAA. Made a couple of return visits to the big club. Sinker, slider, changeup pitcher. He's got a good sinker and runs it up there in the high 80s. Almost hitting. But what I've heard from scouting reports, John, is that he's been working on a cutter, and that's kind of taken away from his slider.
Yeah, unfortunately, early on, you try to get the total package as fast as you can instead of really upgrading what you have and then bringing something along. And it might be a little bit of confusion trying to put something in the hitters' heads.
Strikes out Diaz.
But what you see is you see a guy with length and tilt that should work down in the zone into a right-hander. And what's confusing is you see this last pitch. This pitch is diving. He's starting over the middle of the plate and diving in. Looks good to Matty, and he's going after it and doesn't get it. What's confusing is, maybe to your point, Joe, that cutter or what he's working on is going opposite of what it should do to left-handers, because left-handers should have a tougher time chasing that sinker, and right now the average shows that they're not.
Martin Prado takes ball 1. 3 for 10 in the series against the Rockies. His average at 426. A homer and 3 driven in. Up the middle. Tough play for Castro, and he can't get it. Martin Prado continues his good hitting here at home. He's now 11 for 23 at Turner Field. Here's the rest of the defense for the Phillies. Ibanez, Victorino, and Worth from left to right. Polanco, Castro. Juan Castro playing shortstop in place of Jimmy Rollins. Utley and Howard, as usual, on the right side. And Carlos Ruiz, a very underrated catcher behind the plate. Kendrick's first 2 starts, very ugly. His last one, he just lasted an inning and 2/3 against Washington. Gave up 6 hits and 6 runs, but his teammates took him off the hook. He got no decision as they came back to win the game. Chipper's worn him out, too. 6 for 13 with 2 homers. But this is a double play possibility. Here's 6-3, inning over. Kendrick gets the sinker working. And a double play gets him out of the first. No score.
BB&T, best bank in town since 1872.
And leading off the second inning for the Phillies will be Ryan Howard. He's hit in 7 straight. And as we showed you in our opening comments, just unbelievable numbers against Atlanta last year. In 18 games, he had 8 homers and drove in 16 runs. And he has not, you mentioned the walks, John. He has not struck out much here to start the season. 55 at bats, just 6 strikeouts. And Hansen fires a fastball to start him. Shift on. 3 infielders on the right side. Martin Prado playing rover out there in shallow right field. Way out there. 0-2.
6 homers in his last 19 at bats at Turner. I'd say that's pretty locked in.
He's ahead 0-2. Got him on 3 straight. Got him to chase a breaking ball. Hansen's got his second strikeout.
Well, as we mentioned in the open, we got to figure out what he's going to do and how aggressive he's going to be. And this pitch right here is just what would be considered a waste pitch. But the discipline was not good enough for Mr. Howard. And we'll see who makes the adjustment the next time he comes up, because you don't have 352 total bases last year and not make adjustments.
Jason Worth, the batter. 1 home run for him, 6 RBIs. But he's been on base a lot. His .341 average, testament to that. A .440 on base percentage. A 20-20 man each of the last 2 seasons, Jason Worth, and Tommy Hansen is getting ahead quickly here this inning. A little check swing down the right field line. Hayward on the run. Can't get it. It lands right on the line. And Worth will pull in at second with a little Ric Flair to right.
I know it's tough to give up 0-2 hits, but I can tell you this pitch right here is a very good pitch, and you got to credit the hitter. He just flicks it off the plate, almost down, check swing type. And if you're going to give up hits, that's the way you got to give them up.
Opponents last year were 1 for 38 against Tommy Hansen on 0-2 counts. That was just kind of a lunge and prayer type swing. Raul Ibanez is off to a slow start. He's 0 for his last 13. Got up to a good start last year in his first year with the Phillies. He battled some injuries and tailed off near the end of the year.
We mentioned, you know, Braves are in a fortunate spot to be 1 game back. But the flip side of that, the Phillies, with one of their main run producers and average hitters, both him and Rollins. Rollins not playing, but he is not having a start. He certainly came in Philadelphia last year and set
those 7 homers. Yeah, he tore the Braves up. I know that. Phillies are a little banged up right now. Might be catching them at the right time. Key guys on the DL. Two and 1 the count. Mentioned Jimmy Rollins, Brad Lidge, their closers on the disabled list. J.C. Romero, one of their setup guys in the bullpen on the DL. Joe Blanton suffered an oblique injury just before the season started. And now Jay Happ, who's not on the DL yet, but he's going to miss his next start with a strained muscle in his forearm. Laid off that breaking ball. 3 and 1. Juan Castro on deck.
People might say at home, especially even though it's early and a guy's struggling at the plate, why don't you go after him? You never pitch a guy as if his average is going to be indicative of how it's going to stay. Certainly you've got to be aware of his talents and make sure with the base open you don't give in to this hitter to create a run producing situation.
And he didn't. First walk sets up a double play possibility as Castro comes to the plate. Castro's no kid, 37 years old. He's been around, plays good defense, and providing the Phillies with a little offense so far. 7 for 21 since coming in to replace Rollins, but does not run well. Get him to hit it on the ground, you got a real good shot at a double play. The Phillies last year, John, talking about those injuries, especially to Rollins, they had 6 different regulars that played 155 or more games. 6 of them.
That's a pretty good formula.
Prado tries to dart in behind Worth, but no throw.
You know, baseball has so many moving parts that you think, oh, you replace a person here or there. They still got to hit, run, steal, throw, and all that. But when you have continuity and know what you're going to get every day, it's easier to play these type of games together and what I call pass the baton on to the next guy. If one day Utley doesn't get it done, you know 2 or 3 guys are going to pick it up. And it's just easier to know as a manager you can plug these guys in for, you know, you're going to get 150-plus games. And very few teams get that.
Plus, they all batted in the same spot in the order all year long, too. You get used to certain situations. Fought that one off.
1996. This guy was at the plate. I asked Chipper Jones when he was playing for Los Angeles, what kind of hitter is he? Came in to pinch hit in the 7th inning in a 1-1 game. He says, go right after him. He's just a slap hitter. I was taking x-rays on my wrist 2 hours later as I developed a chip fracture in my wrist as he lined it off my wrist into center field. Thanks, Chipper.
Chipper fracture. Now a throw back, and a good idea to hold Worth close. He stole third base 8 times last year, and that was second in the National League to Ryan Braun, who had 9 steals of third.
The old daylight play, work on it forever. Some guys like it as a pitcher, some guys don't. Looked like he was in sync there. It can sometimes mess up the rhythm of a pitcher, cause his knee to buckle, which it would have caused a result in a balk. That's what you work on in spring training, trying to get those timings, know, familiar with each player, what they like.
And what it does to a base runner is it puts the thought in his head, and Worth's in this case, that they might try to pull another play on me. Maybe have the shortstop dart in there, so I got to be careful with my lead. Got to give McCann a chance to throw him out if he did try to steal. Got it. Fastball to the outside corner. Best one he's thrown so far at 96. 3rd strikeout.
This is a key to Tommy's success. He stays so good right there. That ball stays right on the outside half. He doesn't pull it. He doesn't worry about yanking it. And he could say, here comes 3 of those. If you can master that, good luck. 97, 96.
It's a pretty good spot. Carlos Ruiz comes in hitting .296. No homers, 2 RBIs. He's a good fastball hitter. Likes the ball middle of the plate in. Last year, Braves handled him pretty well, 9 for 35.
Always find at this part of the game, 2nd inning, nothing going on. This is the guessing game. The 8th hitter's going, is he going to pitch to me? Is he going to give me something? And right there you can see it looked like an aggressive slider, just in case Ruiz was trying to snatch his fastball and put his team on board.
He's had to throw a lot of pitches here in the first couple of innings. That was number 40. But 26 strikes, 14 balls. Phillies have only scored 1 run in their last 2 games, John. The Marlins did a terrific job against them. Kind of figured the Phillies were coming to town steaming a little bit offensively.
And these kind of statistics in the first 12 games even speaks volumes to what you just said. Average, they're third. Homers, third. RBIs, first. Total bases, third. Hits, eighth. Walks, sixth. And they're the hardest team to strike out. So you add all those numbers together, and that's a dangerous lineup. It adds to why a pitcher has to be more careful, throw more pitches.
Thompson, a former Brave, is their hitting coach. But yeah, all those power numbers and so good offensively, and yet they strike out fewer than any other team and fewer times than anybody in the league. Down the line, but out of play. 2-2. And Ruiz will need some new lumber. But when 6 of your regulars, going back to what I talked about earlier in the inning, 6 of your position players play 155 or more games. Ibanez played 134. And then Ruiz, of course, your catcher's not going to catch that much. I think he was at about 110 or so. Just remarkable that they went through the whole year with their position players and not have any real debilitating injuries or any that hurt their lineup. Guys that go to the post every night. 2-2. Oh, full count. Runners will be moving on the pitch.
Good slider. Just didn't get him to bite.
Just a little off the plate. Runners go. Foul tipped a 97 fastball. Tommy's been throwing harder than we saw him pitch last year.
Sure has. And again, stand back, stand on that outer third. I wouldn't be afraid right here. If I had to guess, I'd throw a slider on that same spot, see if you could get an aggressive 3-2. He's got to challenge me swing. Knowing you got the pitcher on deck, no big deal. See what he goes to.
Again, the runners will be moving. And it was. And he got a piece of it. The only thing that's happening here, though, is his pitch count is really ballooning.
That, and he's exercising the legs of the runners on the base.
Yeah.
Getting a nice head start with 3-2 count.
And having to rub up a lot of new baseballs.
That was the curveball there. Let's see if he goes to the tight slider, trying to think that he's throwing a fastball at him, but a good curveball that he got a piece of.
Two hopper to Prado. Martin handles an in-between hop, throws him out, inning over. That ball was hit sharply. With Prado equal to the task. The Phillies leave a couple, and we go to the bottom of the second, still scoreless. email, and if chosen, we'll answer it later in the game. Send your email to braves@peachstreettv.com, and please tell us your name. Remember, more saving, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot. Turned out to be a very pleasant night here, even some sunshine breaking through after a rainy day in Atlanta. Brian McCann will lead off the second. Try to snap out of an 0 for 7. He's in.
Come on, Matt.
Phillies put a shift on for him. They've got 3 infielders on the right side.
It's interesting, between these two offenses, we gave the numbers for Philadelphia. And with the Braves, because of those two games we talked about, 23rd in average, 26 in homers, 14 in RBIs, 28 in total bases, 27th in hits. But interesting enough, first in walks. They've walked more than any other team. But they find yourselves one game out of first. That's the product of an early start.
Hey, get on base any way you can. And those walks are a continuation of spring training, where they led the majors in walks. 2-1 to Bryan. Backdoor slider for a strike. Kendrick has pitched well against the Braves, even though some of the guys like Bryan have had good numbers against him. He's 4-1 against Atlanta. His only loss was last July here. Out of play. And in all 6 games that he's pitched against the Braves in his career, he's allowed 3 earned runs or less. Two and two. Right at Polanco, who's the only man on the left side of the diamond. John, last inning we were talking about Kendrick and his slider and a new cutter. What's the difference in how you hold them, how you throw them?
Well, the cutter, you're going to try to create friction on the seams, and you're just going to really just cut your fastball. You're going to not vary the speed very much. And the slider, you're going to have a little bit more of a gap, what I call between your hand and the baseball, and then of course a curveball, you're going to have more choke. That's going to create the change of speeds. But a cutter today has been the evolutionized pitch that everyone seems to be going to, because they want to be able to create fastball spin and then at the last minute cut it, and it just gets it off the barrel of the bat or jams a left-hander, versus the slider is going to be a little bit hard, but it's going to sweep more. And the last thing you want is the two becoming one, and then you've lost decent pitches versus you've now taken that pitch and become mediocre at both. It's very difficult to have a hard cutter and a good slider and a good curveball, because you need touch on all those pitches.
Well, that's what they're talking about. He's fallen in love with his cutter to the point that he's lost some effectiveness with his slider. Gets ahead of Troy Gloss here, 0-2.
And there's an example right there. 89 miles an hour, that ball cut. That's what you want. You want it just cutting out of the zone. Looks like a fastball. And, of course, it gets off the end of the bat. But I think what's happening, to your point, and some early on, is he's experimenting, if he is, trying to add this to his repertoire. He's having some early troubles trying to figure out when and where to throw those pitches.
Is it more product, and if they'll show you holding the baseball again, is it more product, though, when you throw the cutter, of letting it come, maybe offsetting it in your hand as opposed to turning your wrist on
right now, my fingers are offset, and if I just release the ball with an offset, it's going to cut. It's going to have a sideways spin. For a slider, I'm going to actually have more of a turn. I want the ball to turn. I want it to have that 45-degree angle. From a cutter, I want it to stay on plane and have this little tiny spin, and it's moving away just enough that the hitter recognizes that it's a fastball. In the last minute, it just gets away from the barrel of the bat. And a slider typically is going to have a little bit more tilt and more angle to it.
2-2 the count. Just missed. Full count. Troy's worked it back full after falling behind 0-2.
Tomorrow's pitcher, we're going to see the expert of being able to do both. He has perfected the cutter on both sides of the plate.
Hard hit, one hopper right to Castro. He handles it, 2 down.
With command. Roy Halladay, as a pitcher who has tremendous control, never feels, the hitter never feels that he's comfortable in any spot. So if you start looking for a ball in one area, he puts it completely in the opposite area, with, as we're going to see tomorrow as you watch his mastery so far coming over to New League, 3-0, dominating.
Jason Hayward gets his first at bat against the Phillies and takes a strike. He was 3 for 10 against the Rockies, including that game winner Sunday, and up to 15 RBIs. Two good pitches in the outside part. 0-2. He lays off a backdoor slider. 1-2 the count. Jason batting in the 6th spot tonight. El Escobar batting 7th. We play him straight away. Pretty much working everything away here in the first 4 pitches. 2-2.
Early on, the book is to try and see how far you can expand with this kid, how patient he's going to stay. And I thought that's excellent first 4 pitches you could throw to him, and he just got 2-2 count on.
Fouls that one off. And that's what Morales tried to do Sunday after getting the count to 2-2. Tried to work him hard away with a fastball, and Jason adjusted to it, hit it solidly past Ian Stewart of the Rockies. Coming in, but missed. Tried cutter there.
People don't understand how hard it is to have plate discipline. Jason has not had too many years under his belt in professional baseball, and that pitch right there, as you've seen on your TV, looks like the pitcher made his pitch, and he did, and Jason didn't offer at it. Great discipline so far early in the season.
Backdoor slider, though, got him. Made him think about that inside pitch, perhaps, and Kendrick got the call to end. Score through 2 innings, and here are the recipients of the Big Smile Seat Upgrade, sponsored by Dr. Deborah Gray King and the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry, the place in Atlanta to get a beautiful smile. Close to the action. Al Kendrick leads off the 3rd inning. Hanson needs a quick inning. Already at 48 pitches. In the air to center. That'll help. Nate McClouth is there. One away.
Joe, I'm pretty excited about my new little gift I got today.
Uh-oh.
Got a gift from Mr. Hal Galima. It is a brand new, spanking new scorebook with hundreds of pages of opportunities for me to learn, or I should say mess up. But I'm excited. I mean, this is what I needed.
And you've got highlighter working in there, too. That's pretty impressive.
Learning from the best.
Shane Victorino steps in and takes ball one. He flied to right his first time. After a lengthy battle with Tommy Hanson. Good curveball for a strike. And this inning's pitching speed is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Visit amfam.com/family. Two and one. This is the beginning of a long road trip for the Phillies. 3 here. Then they go to Phoenix and play 3 against the Diamondbacks, and then 3 at San Francisco before going home. Off the fist. Trouble for Escobar. Long run. Got it. In fair territory. Good play by Unell. That saved a hit and probably a double. Way for that one, John.
That's a big out. Make the pitch. That could have easily fallen, and you'd have had to battle with 2 more strikes. But like you said, Joe, now he's gotten 2 outs with very limited pitches.
Polanco, did he go? He did not. So it's Tony Randazzo at first base.
Looked like the double swing from Worth.
Yes, it did. It sure did. 1-1 the count. Glad we got a chance there at the end of the second inning to see that last pitch to Jason Hayward. I think you and I were in agreement that Jason had every right to be upset with that call.
That's a ball, and you know, young player, thought he handled it right. Go sit down. He'll start getting those borderline calls go his way soon.
Boy, one more pitch here would be a welcome sight. Just off the plate. He's got a good fastball tonight. He's been in the mid-90s with just about every one of them. Out of play. One of the unfortunate things for Tommy last year against the Phillies, he made 2 starts against them, and he was 0-2, but one of the losses, he gave up a home run to Ryan Howard early in the game, and then the rains came, and it was a lengthy rain delay. So Tommy never went back out and pitched, and the Phillies went on to win the game, and Tommy was saddled with the loss even though he pitched 2 innings.
Like I said, there's some statistics that just aren't right. That's it.
In the air to center. Easy play for Nate McClouth. And an easy inning for Tommy Hanson. He shut him out through 3. Braves coming up, bottom third of the order. Half of the third inning here at Turner Field, and fans, it's time for the AirTran Airways home run inning, where Jeremy from Gainesville, Georgia, will have the chance to win free airfare for two if the Braves hit a home run during this third inning. Visit PeachtreeTV.com/contests for official rules and to enter for a chance to win. AirTran Airways, go. There's nothing stopping you. Bottom third of the order, Escobar, McLeod, and Hansen against Kyle Kendrick. Each side has one hit.
Let's go.
Braves are going to have to start being a little patient with his sinker. He's getting a lot of quick outs, 28 pitches for the first two innings. Try and see if he can get the ball elevated a little bit and square up a few.
Hard hit, one hopper right to Utley. One down. Well, if there's something, if nothing else, consistent about the Philadelphia Phillies, you always hear about their offense, but you don't hear much about their defense. And they're second again this year in defense. They've only made 6 errors. And that's tied for a league low with San Francisco. Nate McLeod beginning to swing bat a little better. Takes low, ball one. And a slow start for Nate.
And I'll tell you, I never liked pitching against Jimmy Rollins, but I always liked watching him from afar and how he was able to, you know, if he goes, the Phillies go, and a big part of that is that defense you're talking about as well, because they're solid up the middle.
Very good. Jimmy injured himself loosening up before their home opener. Strained a calf muscle that required him to go on the DL. Talking it over there with Roy Halladay. Utley tested again. Gets him 2 down. And Kendrick, as we've seen him do so often against the Braves, John, getting some ground balls, so that sinker's working tonight.
Well, he's got a good one tonight. He's got a good night to pitch. Conditions, everything conducive for even a better sinker, and he's using it. He's going after the hitters, and the hitters are swinging, not making many hits yet.
Tommy Hansen, one pitch. And he's out of there in a quick inning for Kyle Kendrick. This has been the AirTran Airways home run inning of the game. Be sure to register at PeachtreeTV.com/contest. Pitchers on their game tonight. No score as we head to the fourth. And here's tonight's Toyota trivia question. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota moving forward. Before Tommy Hansen, who was the last Atlanta rookie to have 25 or more innings, to go 25 or more innings without giving up a run? We'll have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning.
My database is searching that right now. I mean, me.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with who that might be. Think it's a reliever or a starter?
I'm going to say starter. I'm thinking like Millwood. Chase Utley will lead off the fourth for the Phillies. Heart of their order: Utley, Howard, and Worth. Utley with 6 home runs against the Braves last year. 10 RBIs in 18 games. Looks at a strike. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, says third base umpire Angel Campos.
You can get him to go after his sweet pitch, but it better be an absolute perfect pitch. It's got to be below his zone or above his hands, because you make a mistake over the middle in that golf swing, you're looking at a run on the board.
And that's a good spot to go to right there. I like that pitch above the letters. He has a tendency to chase that one.
Yeah. There used to be a time where you could stay away and try to make him hit it the other way, and there's some success there for pitchers, and like any good hitter, he changed that mindset and started going the other way. Now you just really got to change his eyes and get his hands to adjust.
He's off that slider 2-2. Just a short, compact, quick swing. He's one of only 3 second basemen in Major League history to have 4 consecutive 100 RBI years. 4 straight years with 100 or more RBIs. Jeff Kent did it 6 times, and your relative Charlie Gehringer did it 5.
That's right. Grandmother was a Gehringer.
Oh, is that how they pronounced it? Gehringer?
Yep. That's how I pronounce it.
Because baseball, I mean, it's always been, they've always talked about Charlie Gehringer.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be corrected.
Well, I don't know.
The family.
You know, it's like Schmaltz or Smoltz. Doesn't mean.
Which is correct.
Smoltz. It's kind of like smoke. Not Schultz.
Yeah.
Schmaltz.
I've heard a lot of people call you Schmaltz. Heard a lot of people call you Schmuck too, but that's another story.
They're not around though. They're not around to tell about it anymore.
Full count. Had him 0-2, now 3-2. Guy's locked in, wasn't he? Man. Check swing. Look at this. Down the line. Are you kidding me? He's given up 2 check swing doubles. Unbelievable. This one's leading off the inning.
There is not enough experience in the world to help a pitcher go, come on. It doesn't show up in the scorebook as 2 check swing doubles, but at the end of the day, you got to find a way to just keep making those pitches.
Ryan Howard struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. You see the disgust on the face of Tommy Hanson, who made a good pitch. Strike 1. Take a look at this, John. Look at Utley's head. Watch, he's looking to right field here.
Oh,
he wasn't even sure where the ball went.
It just shows you it was the right pitch.
Yeah.
He was trying to attack a fastball. In that situation, I guarantee you most times out of not, Utley's thinking he's got to get me something to hit because he doesn't want to walk me and face Howard.
Yeah. Oh, good fastball. Watch his head again.
Man.
Caught a break. State fair. Ryan Howard may have caught a break on that fastball too. 2-1.
That's the pitch right there that the mechanics, when they get sharper, he'll be able to stay on that side of the plate and have that slider work as well as it does. It just gets away from him. It becomes a waste pitch. It'll become an effective pitch where left-handers say that's a ball, and all of a sudden it catches the outer side of the plate. And that's that freeze-up pitch he can start utilizing against left-handers.
Breaking ball, that'll get the runner to third, but it's off Gloss's glove and gets by Prado, and Utley will score. Talk about some tough luck for Tommy Hanson. That was going to be a ground out with a runner at third, but the deflection turned into an RBI.
Here's that slider. He stayed on it. Not a very good swing by Howard. In most occasions, even if he doesn't field that ball, Prado's right there to throw it. But as a first baseman, you don't know. You got to get what you can and throw it to the pitcher, and it just didn't work out.
Really a tough break. First run, or only the second run for the Phillies in their last 22 innings.
And I'm going to have my first disagreement as an announcer.
Ooh. Hot shot to Chipper. 5-4-3, 2 down. Okay, fire away.
That's not a base hit. You got a second baseman standing right behind on the shift. It's not a base hit, but
no, you got to score that a hit.
You think?
Yeah. Because the first baseman went to his left. He had to extend himself to try to glove it, and it takes Martin Prado out of the play. And they kicked away from Martin.
Well, he turned it into a hit, is what you're saying then.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
If he'd let it go, it's going to be an out.
Right, I can live with that. Especially now the double play.
Yeah, 5-4-3. Beauty. Hard hit. Escobar can't glove it. Base hit for Ibanez. He snaps an 0 for 13. How hard is it for a kid, 23 years old, to get over that run? The check swing double, the base hit off the glove of one of your infielders. How long does that linger?
Well, you like to think it's not going to linger much, but it does. It stings because you're facing a great lineup as it is, and you're doing what you need to do to take the bat out of their hands. And next thing you know, they got 2 hits and a run, and it's frustrating. And that's why I said no amount of experience, period, prepares you for those kind of hits. You just tip your hat and go, okay, that's the way I want to give up the hits.
Juan Castro, the batter. He struck out looking his first time. And the count 1-1. Ibanez last year 4 for 4 in stolen bases. Two and one. Only in the fourth, and pitch number 75 about to be thrown. Breaking ball. 2-2. Frustrating thing, if you want to add to the frustration, was that he got ahead of Utley 0-2.
And then he battled him to 3-2, and only like Utley can frustrate you because each pitch, even to get to 0-2, were quality pitches, and you keep having to make those quality pitches. But he won the battle.
Castro stays alive. Carlos Ruiz would be next. Hanson 6'6", 220. A gift to the Braves organization in the 22nd round. of the draft in 2005. What a find. Hard hit over Chipper's head. Base hit. Ibanez round second, but he'll hold there as Diaz gets it in quickly. And the inning continues.
When we look at this right here, it's the tendency of throwing a slider. He gets a little bit lower on some of his sliders. This pitch will come out just a little bit lower. See, it's not as sharp, and it stays over the middle of the plate. That's the difference between the Hansen ball that's going to get hit versus the right-hander versus the one that doesn't. And it's just lowering your sights with your hand, which you can't do. You've got to stay firm up top. And then, of course, when he throws an overhand fastball, the only time he does it with a fastball is when he's behind an account to try and locate in the zone 3-1. So just a little bit of a hand position changes that pitch enough that a big league hitter can locate it and get a hit.
Ruiz, first pitch swinging, fouls one back. Grounded out his first time up. Left runners at first and second in the second inning.
And that comes over time. There's no gift that you can give a young pitcher to say that that's not possible or he can't stop that. It just comes over time.
Count even at 1-1. Not much speed out there. I mean, Ibanez, as I said, was 4 for 4 last year, but he doesn't like to run that much. He had some surgery over the winter to work on his knees a little bit. Good pitch, but low. 80 pitches now for Tommy.
This is where you're Tommy, and that's why I hate that graphic right there in left field, because I made a point to never look at it. Because if you look at it, you start condensing your innings. You just got to get out of this inning, pitch each inning the way it calls for, whether it takes 20 or 10 or 5 pitches, but get out of this inning, let your team get back to bat.
Got him to chase there, 2-2. And you got to also keep in mind who he's pitching against.
Right.
And having to try and make good pitches even when he's been ahead in the count to some of these dangerous hitters, especially the left-handers that you talked about at the beginning of the show. Two and two.
Stay back and make a quality pitch right here and get in the dugout.
Another check swing, which probably worked in Tommy's favor there. It looked like it was going to be ball 3.
This is the type of pitch. He's got a curveball that starts up where that fastball just was, and the hitter just kind of went. Here's a situation where he could throw if he wants. The hitter's eyes are up. Throw that big curveball. See if he can't get him to buckle his knees just enough.
Fastball fought off. McCann out to talk to Tommy and perhaps talk about what they're going to need to do to get Ruiz here. They have 4 hits in the inning, but a double play has helped. And only 1 run. So if you can limit the damage to just that 1 run, you'd feel pretty good about yourself. And as you said, get the Braves hitters to the plate and have the pitcher lead off the next inning. Coming in. Slider, but he fought it off.
There's a product there. I mean, when Brian goes out to the mound, he thinks one or two things are happening. He may think the Phillies are relaying location and or the pitch selection. So right there you saw they already had their mind made up. He didn't put any sides down. He shook his head and he said, go ahead and do it. See if he can keep them off balance. But the art of giving signs and the art of stealing signs is something in baseball that has been there forever. And the teams that are good at it give their hitters a little bit of a heads up Oh, man, speaking of heads up, right above us.
Yeah, it's almost you. That definitely gives the hitters an advantage.
And some hitters, you would think every hitter wants it. Not every hitter wants it. There's a couple hitters usually on a team says, don't tell me, I get too anxious, I don't want to know where it's at. And the team that does it the best from a defensive standpoint sets up late, gives signs late, don't exasperate the sign or don't show the sign that the one you want.
Another full count.
Curveball just catches the outside part. You can see he kind of gives up. That curveball is so effective. In the zone, he'll have more success than trying to get a hitter to swing at that pitch away from the plate.
Runners going. Off the end of the bat, foul. So you're saying he could go ahead and throw it for a strike.
Absolutely.
Not have to try to trick him.
Absolutely. It's pitch recognition, and it's the height of his fastball that gives, at 96, 97 miles an hour, a hitter has very little time to react. And so his first move when he sees it up is to give just a little bit. And we're always taught as pitcher to either bury that curveball down in the zone or away from the plate. But he has that special curveball that starts and loops and breaks hard that all he needs the hitter to do is react and give up on it just a hair. And he's beat him.
Another payoff pitch due. Runners moving. Got it. 96 upstairs. He's angry, and he has a right to be. Check swing double. Toyota moving forward. Before Tommy Hanson, who was the last Braves rookie to go 25 or more innings without giving up a run, I said Millwood. Who'd you say?
A reliever.
You're going to go reliever. Broadbrush. You were right. Bedrock, back in 1982. Steve Bedrosian has a son, by the way, Cam, who will be high on the scouts list this June for the draft. We wish him luck. You could shorten that shirt by just saying, I love you, Nell. Top of the order for the Braves, Diaz, Prado, and Chipper. Kendrick has faced the minimum. Gave up a hit to Prado in the first, but a double play hit into by Chipper erased him. Struck out his first time up.
Got to somehow, if you're the Braves offense, change the rhythm that he's in right now. Whatever it means, get a runner on, get him out of the stretch, do something to change the rhythm, because he's pretty comfortable firing in strikes right now. That could be part of it. There you go. Change that
rhythm. Good way to do it right there. Put some pressure on him a little bit if he's in the stretch, make a better pitch to some of the hitters. To third, short hop handled by Polanco. 1 out. And Martin Prado coming to the plate. And now it's time to take a look at the SunTrust Solid Performance, brought to you by SunTrust. Live solid, bank solid. And Martin Prado, second in the league now in hitting, behind, are you kidding, Pudge Rodriguez. With the Washington Nats. Casey McGee, pretty good looking player too with Milwaukee. Andre Ethier off to a good start for the Dodgers.
Solid performers reminds me a little bit yesterday. Got a chance to go see Chris Hammond and play in his charity golf tournament yesterday. Mr. Glavine and Pete Smith and Javier Lopez amongst some of the entries. And pretty unique thing. We had the Scramble tournament. You got a Phil Niekro and a Glenn Diamond. Well, actually, you got 2 Phil Niekros and a Glenn Diamond.
Oh, yeah? Well, autographs?
No. The Phil Niekros, you get 2 throws at any point, no strokes. You get to throw it from wherever you're at. We utilize that to perfection.
Just pick up your golf ball and throw it?
Just throw it. Doesn't count. You could throw it in the hole, and it would be that score. But the Glenn Diamond, I had to ask what that was, and it was your traditional mulligan.
So that makes sense.
You got a redo on that.
Did you say mulligan or mulligan?
Oh, no. Mulligan.
Mulligan.
Yeah,
okay.
mulligan. Redo.
Okay, that makes sense.
19 under my team, and we did not win it.
3-1 now to Prado. Maybe if they'd had Glavine, they would have won.
No, we beat his team.
Look out. Martin's 2 for 2. Martin trying to climb back up to the top of the National League batting race. And Kendrick will work out of the stretch for the first time since this same situation popped up in the first inning.
See if Chipper is a little more patient. I know he was looking for a pitch, and that traditionally he always follows the trends that a pitcher's trying to face him, and he just didn't get on top of that sinker. You cannot pitch Chipper the same way too many times in a row. That's what makes him so good.
We talked about him a couple of games ago, being a guy who just a walking library in terms of remembering pitchers and how they work against him. And more homers against the Phillies than any other active player. Good cut, 2-1. Like Kendrick turned that one over. .91-mile-an-hour sinker. He also has a changeup, but he doesn't throw it that often. Whoa. Hard hit to right field. On the run, Word can't get it over his head. Off the wall. Prado will pull into third and be stopped there by Brian Snitker. It's a double for Chipper. Braves in business with 1 out.
This looks like the same pitch he swung and missed at. And it goes back into the same area, I'm sure, when you just can't keep going to the well against Chipper. Let's see where this pitch is. Right back over the plate. Good extension. Braves are cooking.
Wanted to work him away, John, and the ball, as you said, started in or third and just stayed in the middle of the plate. Didn't run away from him like they wanted. Chance for McCann to tie the game up or put the Braves on top. Infield back. Willing to concede a run for an out. 0-1. McCann grounded out his first time against the shift. But with runners aboard, they can't overplay him quite as much. Two and oh. First base open, right-handed hitter on deck. Got to be playing in his thought process here, doesn't it?
I wouldn't expect Brian to get any good pitches to hit. If he does, it's a mistake. Just to your point, you got a double play candidate on deck, and just see if you can get Brian to expand the zone as a pitcher and chase something.
When you go over the hitters and you have team meetings before a series, there are guys you talk about, right, that you say you don't want this guy to beat you if you can pitch around him or if you can avoid it. And
that's exactly right. And you go over in your mind, you know the scenarios. That's a perfect scenario. You're talking if there's a base open with your catcher, you guarantee base at the lineup. Now, it could burn you. I mean, this could end up being a big inning, but you're going to take your chances because you set that first pitch up to see if Brian's going to be aggressive, and then maybe you can tweak it a little bit. Some coaches, some pitching coaches will take that out of your hands and say, the heck with it. Just throw 4 balls or let's intentionally walk them. But what you don't want that approach to say, I'm just going to pitch him carefully.
Yeah.
You aggressively pitch him out of the zone and let him determine if you're going to even have a chance to get him out.
Rich Dubey's the highly respected pitching coach of the Phillies, out to give a pep talk to Kendrick. Bases loaded. 1 out for Troy Gloss. Grounded sharply to short his first time up. He's failed to turn a double play. They kept the inning alive for Jason Hayward to eventually win the game. Atlanta Braves, the only team last season not to have a grand slam.
Well, we talked at the beginning of the inning. We've got to be a little bit more patient as an offense and see what stress is created on what really has been a first 3 inning mow them up, mow them down type approach.
2-0.
There's a little bit of difference when you're pitching. If things are going good, you throw it in the middle of the plate, it's sinking, guys are getting themselves out, and then all of a sudden you try to be even more perfect, and then the ball gets out of the zone and
grip a little too tight.
Yep.
Good hitters count here. 2-0. 2-1. Troy has 1 home run on the season, and that was a long one in San Diego. Love to see Kendrick make a mistake to him up and out over the plate. To third. Might be 2. Polanco to Utley to Howard. Phillies did exactly what they wanted to do by pitching around Brian McCann. And the Braves load them up but come up empty. And we go to the 5th. Still 1-0 Phillies.
Experience all the comfort and amenities you expect at an unexpectedly low price. Jamieson Inn's Live Large, Pay Less.
Kyle Kendrick got exactly what he wanted. The ground ball from Gloss to get the double play and get out of the inning. He leads off the fifth. And Tommy Hanson back out there. Now at 89 pitches. Good ball game. Glad you're with us on Peachtree TV. Be with you tomorrow night, same time, 7 o'clock airtime. Tim Hudson against Roy Halladay. Great matchup. And likewise, 7 o'clock on Thursday, Derek Lowe against Jamie Moyer. A couple of grizzled veterans will go at it. Derek not quite as grizzled as Jamie. 2-1. Two and two. There you go. Those are the matchups. Again, 7 o'clock airtime Wednesday and Thursday. And a full count to the pitcher.
First couple pitches, he struggled with the landing. You see him try to fix it. He's got a long stride. You never know how the visiting pitcher is going to affect your landing spot.
Easy play from McLeod, almost in his tracks. One out. Shane Victorino, 0 for 2 tonight, steps in. Big year last year. He had 292, 10 homers, 62 driven in. Stole 25 bases. He scored 102 runs. Jimmy Rollins scored 100.
Here's the curveball I'm talking about right there. Over the middle of the zone. Looks up. Drops in for a strike. He's got that anytime he wants it, the way he could set up his fastball with his curveball.
Looks like a changeup. That's like his fourth best pitch.
Yeah, and everyone has a different theory. When you slow the hitter down with a curveball, you try not to follow it with a changeup, but you want to push and pull, or as they say in different things, step on the throttle, get off the throttle, however terminology you want. Greg Maddux did it better than anybody. You know, if somebody pulled the ball foul, sped up his bat, he'd try and slow it down and vice versa. He never gave them the same variations.
In the air to right field, but Jason Hayward. There's that one, 2 down.
And what I mean by that, because if let's say a hitter's not catching up to your fastball and a right-hander's following it down the right-hand side, well, you throw him a changeup, you just sped up his bat, and he could get to it. He's showing you he's not catching up. He's not recognizing out of the hand. Same thing with a curveball. Curveball is going to slow everything down. You don't have to, be able to go after that pitch. And if you follow it with something slow, it might just be the swing speed that hitter needs. And that's why a lot of pitchers with a fastball and a curveball will use that variation.
Polanco's 0 for 2. Takes a strike. Pitch number 100 is a little inside, 1-1. Polanco last year 285 at Detroit. He had 10 homers, drove in 72. He's been a second baseman. He broke in with St. Louis, then went to the Phillies, and really it was Chase Utley who unseated him there. When Utley began to establish himself, Polanco was moved to Detroit.
Wins the Gold Glove at a position, and then rarely do you see that person change position the following year. 2009 Gold Glove winner at second.
Traded to Detroit for Hugo Urbina and Ramon Martinez. Infielders. Eric O'Flaherty begins to loosen up in the Atlanta pen as Tommy's pitch count continues to grow. 1-0 Phillies. We got a check swing double from Utley last inning, if you just joined us, and then Howard grounded one to the right side and it deflected off Gloss's glove away from Prado for an RBI single. And the Braves just left the bases loaded. Double play ball hit into by Gloss prevented them from getting on the board. A one-handed wave and another flare to left. Polanco's thinking too, and he's headed for second. Diaz's throw is late. 2-out double for Polanco.
His front door slider did not get front door. Caught too much over the middle of the plate. The hitter was allowing him. He allowed the hitter to stay in there. See that pitch? Supposed to be in. He went out to talk to him and said, I think we can lock him up front door. Problem with the sequence when you look back is a lot of the pitches were away. It might have had a better effect to go in with a fastball and then try to lock him up. But that pitch right there just caught too much of the plate, and he was, as the hottest hitter as he is, he was able to stay there and get a hit.
And that's going to do it for Tommy Hanson. Bobby Cox out of the dugout. He's already made the signal that he's going to make a change. So the pitch count cost Tommy Hanson here. He's only trailing 1-0, but up over 100 pitches. This call with the bullpen is brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. Tommy Hanson's pitched well tonight, but he's victimized by a lot of deep counts. Up over 100 pitches already here in the fifth inning, and with 2 out and a runner at second, Bobby Cox goes to a Braves pitcher out of the bullpen, and that's not a bad choice going to the bullpen right now the way these guys have been pitching, John.
No, it's not. And as a starting pitcher, you would hope to try and stay in there, but it's early in the year. It's a scenario where you're squeezing out one more hitter to gain. It could be another 10, 12 pitches. And here's a situation where you're going to bring in your top lefty against arguably the 2 toughest 3 and 4 left-handed hitters in the league.
Yeah. Eric O'Flaherty's first pitch is outside, ball 1. O'Flaherty's 1-0, a 1.42 ERA. This is his 7th game already. 6 1/3 innings, only 1 earned run allowed, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Trouble is, of Utley's 6 homers, 3 have been against lefties, and that leads the majors. 2-0. There are his numbers for the year. Utley last year, 31 homers, drove in 93 runs. And he was a perfect 23 for 23 in stolen bases.
What's amazing about their team last year, just from total bases, he had 290 total bases, 352 out of Howard. The top 6 was 276. I don't think the Braves got anywhere close to 230 or so as their lead.
Taking all the way and takes a strike, 3-1. Peter Moylan begins to loosen up in the Atlanta pen as well. Early for Peter to be up. From a typical standpoint, he's usually a 7th inning guy. Three-one pitch, line to center. McLeod will have to hurry as Polanco's going to be waved home. There'll be no throw. An RBI single by Utley, his 13th run driven in of the year, and the Phillies take a 2-0 lead.
That increases what already was a high average with runners in scoring position, 455, as he takes a fastball and just goes right where it was delivered, right up the middle. As a team, they're hitting 274, which shows you how dangerous they are. Castro with the highest at 500 with runners in scoring position.
Roger McDowell out this time, with Ryan Howard the batter. Again, the Braves trying to limit the damage. Close the book on Tommy Hanson. 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned. Walked 1, struck out 4. Through 102 pitches. Ryan Howard 1 for 3 in his career against Eric O'Flaherty. His RBIs, you were just looking at the top 4 guys in their batting order.
Unfortunately, that's the first inherited runner that Mr. O'Flaherty has given up on the early campaign. 3 for 3 coming into today. Stranding him.
Fell behind. You fall behind Utley, you're asking for trouble. Braves have the shift done for Howard. Chippers cheated up the middle for at the shortstop position for Howard. 1-1. And again, Prado out in shallow right field. Pitch. Howard so far on the year 5 for 18, not bad against lefties. 278 average with a homer. Snap throw, but Utley was just barely off the bag. Two to nothing Philadelphia. 2-2. Howard second in the MVP voting again to Albert Pujols in 09.
This is where you want to make something happen. 2-2 pitch, still somewhat of a defensive approach as a hitter. This is the pitch you want to make action happen, preferably an out, strike out, and maybe a sweeper.
Hooked right at Troy Gloss. He's got it for the out. And that'll end the inning. Hard hit. That ends it. A run on 2 hits. Utley comes through again. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Philadelphia.
Get your Toyota 2-for-1 Wednesday ticket deal for tomorrow's game versus the Phillies. For tickets, visit Braves.com or call 1-800-745-3000.
Jason Hayward leads off the fifth and takes ball one. And if that 2-for-1 Wednesday deal, if that pitching matchup tomorrow doesn't inspire you to come out and take advantage of that, I don't know what will. Roy Halladay against Tim Hudson.
On that base, Jason.
Hayward took a called third strike his first time up, one that we believe was just a little outside. Good one. Kendrick pitched out of a huge jam last inning. Bases loaded, one out. They got Troy Gloss to hit into a 5-4-3 double play. In the air to left. Ibanez has room. One out here in the fifth. Some other scores around the National League. How about the Colorado Rockies? They put a 10 spot already on Washington early in the fourth inning. Mercy. And Milwaukee likewise early on over Pittsburgh. Ricky Weeks off to a good start though for Milwaukee. Mets have taken an early lead over the Cubs. That Dodger team is kind of hard to figure. Got a lot of distractions out west. Got a good team, but a lot going on out there.
Sure do.
Escobar takes high, ball one. Grounded out his first time. Down the line. Stay fair. Wow.
Kind of had a strange day yesterday, Joe. I also went to a wedding.
Did you?
Yep, I did.
You played golf and went to a wedding?
Yeah. Yeah, these the two antennas got married, but the wedding wasn't much, but the reception was outstanding. Maybe that'll get the Braves going. What do you think?
1-1 pitch a little high.
The reception was outstanding.
Down the line, fair ball behind the bag. Polanco with a good play to get him 2 out. You know, by tomorrow, when I get to the booth, I'm going to have a big hook. You know, like in vaudeville.
Like the Gong Show?
Yeah. Gong might even be better. Because just as you would start, if you start telling any more of those, I'm just going to gong right away so I don't have to hear the rest of it.
Well, I know you're using a lot of this material out on the street, but
it's really remarkable. Klaus shows bunt. Clout grounded out his first time up, takes inside to even the count. Kyle Kendrick's been just fine out of the windup. Braves had him in trouble working out of the stretch last inning, and he wasn't making as good pitches as he does from the windup. 2-1. 2-0 Phils. We're in the fifth. Three and one.
I know it doesn't seem like much, but this is a big at bat here to reset the lineup. Big disparity in pitches so far. We talked about the Braves leading baseball on most walks. But to get the ninth hitter up here would be important for the Braves.
And certainly Kendrick knows that too. But McLeod fouls it off. Brooks Conrad has a bat. He would hit for O'Flaherty if Nate can reach. Payoff pitch to McLeod. To Utley. And a 1-2-3 inning for Kendrick again. He's back on track. We've played 5. Phillies up 2-0.
Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
We go to the 6th inning. Phillies up 2-0. Joe Simpson along with Goober. Watching Peter Moylan warm up. He's the new Atlanta pitcher. Just as he was in spring training. Peter is perfect on the regular season, his 7th appearance. No runs allowed in 5 2/3 innings. A walk and 4 strikeouts. Surprised to see him in there this early?
A little bit. I think Bobby's trying to take advantage, for limited opportunities he would have against all those left-handers in this lineup. He's trying to keep the game right where it is and take his chances later.
Well, he's got 4 right-handers coming up or due up next. I beg your pardon, Ibanez mixed in there. 3 out of 4 right-handed. Jason Worth, a check swing double in the 2nd, hit into a double play in the 4th. Ball 1 from Moylan. Worth 2 for 6 in his career against Peter Moylan with a homer. He had just 268 last year, but 36 homers, a career high, 99 RBIs, that's a high, stole 20 bases and scored 98 runs. He played a good right field. Good one.
The Phillies' offensive balance speaks for itself, but to have power from right side, left side, you got some switch hitters that got some speed. It just makes staying comfortable as a pitcher impossible.
Their rotation at the beginning of the season, the competition for that 5th spot was kind of down to Kendrick and Jamie Moyer. And then Blanton got hurt. They're both in the rotation. Full count. We've seen a few of those tonight.
Maybe some Philly fans are the concern that they're not as pitching rich or the depth. But I tell you, this team is building itself for playoff run, and you only need 2-3 pitchers to run through. And when you have Halliday and Hamels, you're saying, there's our two. Go ahead and try and scratch out a third win somewhere. Or it's a nice formula and a nice problem to have. They traded, as everyone knows, Cliff Lee to get Mr. Halliday, and they're going to be tough.
Payoff pitch again. Yes, he did, and he knew it. So he took off for first base when the ball got by McCann, and Worth will reach. Strikeout and what might be a wild pitch. But Brian just didn't get out there quite enough on the backhand and thought he caught it. So he got a late start retrieving it. Leadoff man aboard anyway, and Ibanez the batter. He's been on twice with a walk and a single. And it is a wild pitch. Thank you, Mr. Galima. Game's still very much in doubt here in terms of the lead, just two, but you can't afford to give the Phillies any more. Not the way Kendrick's pitching. Showed you the numbers that good April that Ibanez had, including 7 homers. He finished up hitting .272 for the Phillies. He hit 34 homers, drove in 93, and scored 93.
A lot of this team's success is going to be determined the back end of the rotation. You know, you mentioned some of the injuries they have, but can they sustain and put the fear back in other ball clubs, knowing that the end of the game is exactly going to be that, a victory for Philadelphia? And when they get healthy and they put together that bullpen, it'll be reminiscent of really the last 2 runs they've had getting to the World Series.
You noticed something. We were going over our notes before the game about how the Phillies got to the World Series last year, lost in 6 games to the Yankees, and didn't have a starter that won more than 12 games.
Exactly, and it's rare. I don't even know if statistically that's happened before.
We're going. Perfect throw. Got it. What a good throw from Brian McCann. He put that one right on the bag. Looked like Worth slid into the out. Beautiful. And Worth caught stealing for the first time. Couldn't get any better than that. Brian McCann will enjoy watching that one again.
And for whatever reason, if the stats are right, this lineup only has 1 stolen base coming into the day.
Which is shocking for the Phillies. And Ibanez draws a walk. He's been on 3 times. There's Castro, who was struck out and singled. Remember, about 2 years ago, the Phillies set an all-time record for best stolen base percentage, like 89%.
Last year they had 119, second only to the New York Mets, 122.
Great combination of power and speed.
And of course, man coaching down there knew a little bit about that too.
Yeah, Davey Lopes, outstanding base running coach for these guys. Certainly instrumental in that stolen base success.
Most of those coaches have a stopwatch. You can see Peter Moylan, one of his Achilles heel, even though he's so tough to hit as a right-hander, is he's got a higher leg kick. It's a little bit slower, and runners can get a bigger jump, which made McCann's throw even more impressive because you have to deliver it on the money to get a hitter, to get a runner when he's getting that big of a jump.
Well, he did a good job of holding Worth. He threw over there a couple of times, made him dive back. That probably helped. He's doing the same thing here to Ibanez. Breaking ball, popped up. Diaz and McLeod, and Nate waves off Diaz and makes the catch. Two out for Ruiz. He's grounded out and struck out. Looking ahead to the Braves half of the sixth inning, it'll be the number 9 spot in the order, probably a pinch hitter. And then back to the top. Good breaking ball, 0-1. Phillies have had kind of a variety, kind of a revolving door, if you will, almost with their backup catching situation behind Ruiz since he became the number 1 guy. But they signed Brian Schneider in the offseason, veteran receiver. Good pickup for them. Former Expo, former Met.
Opportunity to swing it from the left side of the plate, too.
1-2. Tried to get him to chase one outside, and he didn't. Talked about the Phillies' good work on the road last year. They were 48-33. And they are already 5-1 this year on the road. Opened up at Washington and went to Houston and took care of the Astros quickly. Now tip. Brian Kidd could not hold it. He's still alive.
Almost a double with that swing.
Yeah. Tonight that is the Phillies double swing.
Peter's awfully tough. He keeps his front shoulder from flying open. It's even more important from a sidearm pitcher. He stay in there with that front shoulder, cause the deception with the ball behind him, and of course the angle, which is awfully difficult as a right-hander, a batter. He just got to stay away from the sweeper, having his left shoulder get out too far, kind of like a tornado effect. See if he can keep it in there and make a nasty pitch.
He did, and he went, and that'll end the inning. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Peter, along with a walk. He strands a runner. Braves need to get some offense going. Trail by 2. Phillies up 2-0. Let's take a look at the Braves' upcoming schedule, brought to you by AirTran Airways. Go. There's nothing stopping you. Next 2 games in this series, as we told you, coming your way on Peachtree TV. John and I will have that for you beginning at 7 o'clock, both Wednesday and Thursday. Then the Braves head out on the road. First stop is in New York against the Mets. First game Friday night on Sports South, then a day game Saturday on Sports South. Sunday night game, national broadcast on ESPN. Brooks Conrad will pinch hit leading off the 6th. Braves need some base runners. Brooks is 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter, 1 for 5 overall, and that was a double here the other night against Colorado.
On that base, hit.
Polanco cheats in on the grass at third. And goes to 2-0. That Mets team, you know, they played that 20-inning game Saturday against the Cardinals. Then they had the night game, the ESPN game, Sunday night. They didn't get home until about 5 a.m. and had a game Monday night. 2-1 the count to Brooks.
I saw that game 3 different times that day.
In between the golf and the wedding reception.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Straight up. Utley wants it. 1 out. Baseball world was saddened to learn today of the passing of the president of the Colorado Rockies, Kelly McGregor. Young man, former college football star at Colorado State, and then later in the NFL with the Denver Broncos, passed away today. And we send our condolences to the team and certainly to his family. He was only 48 years old.
Early situation is natural causes, but none can explain at 48 with all that he's meant to that organization.
Been the team's president since 2001. That Diaz backs up, then goes into one to right center. Victorino, though, can make up for a bad jump with great speed, and he tracks it down. Matt's pretty good at that. I love watching him dance around in the batter's box, and on that occasion he backed off the plate looking for something inside, I guess, and hit it hard.
The 2-step.
Martin Prado has 2 of the Braves' 3 hits. 2 for 2 tonight. His average up to 449. Big strike 2. Martin's had good balance, John. He's spraying around all over the place, including a couple of hits to center tonight.
And I guarantee you in that scouting report, you can't stay one way. As evidence there, he just is seeing the ball in all areas of the park and doing damage.
And to center again. And right at Victorino, and the Braves go quietly into 6th. Still trailing 2-0.
Coca-Cola. Where else could you hug a 7-foot-tall polar bear? Take home a free 8-ounce glass bottle of Coke. Experience a thrilling 4D theater and taste beverages from around the world. Visit the world of Coca-Cola today.
2-0 Phillies through 6. About hit the Braves 7-3. Not that those 7 hits have been rockets by any means, but they do have the lead, and Chris Medlin will come on and work the 7th for Atlanta. He's in his 6th game. Good numbers, 7 1/3 innings, only 2 earned runs, and just 1 walk against 9 strikeouts. Kyle Kendrick will hit for himself and no doubt stay in the game. He's popped to center twice. The Marlins, after taking 2 out of 3 from the Phillies and really putting the clamps on them with their pitching, are at Houston. They lead the Astros 3-2. They're in the 4th.
Chris got to pour in some strikes right here. Put this leadoff pitcher out and attack the top of the line.
Aimed that one though, 3-0. Victorino waits on deck. 3-1. Roger McDowell will get on the hotline. Strike 2.
Oh,
Howard calling the balls and strikes tonight.
Joe, they haven't toned down that bell yet. You can hear that bell from
all over the park. Jammed him, and Escobar should have an easy play. 1 out. I'm imagining that you can hear it quite clearly if you're standing on the mound too, huh?
It's awful.
Of course, John's talking about the bullpen phone ringing, how loud it is.
Nice job coming back to get him after 3-0.
And back to the top of the order. Victorino 0 for 3. 3 fly ball outs.
Don't know if the Braves plan on having what's called kangaroo court. But I always know that's a big fine when you walk the pitcher on 4 straight pitches, so you don't have to deal with that, at least at this point.
Broken bat grounder, tough play for Escobar. Barehands it, throws, didn't get it. Didn't get much on the throw, and was a little wide of the mark. And as you know, Victorino can fly.
Awfully good try. Another ball that wasn't squared up at all. Probably broke his bat. Just a bit outside.
It's funny how when you field a ball like that, though, it kind of throws off your mechanics because you're not coming with both hands and the ball coming out of your glove. And as a result, a little bit short of the mark. Polanco, a double in 3 trips. Takes a strike. You mentioned the Phillies with only 1 stolen base in the lineup tonight, and that belongs to Victorino. He's 1 for 1. Just 3 for the team. The other 2 belong to Jimmy Rollins. Chris Medlin is quick to first, and just about got Victorino there. Odd to see them 15th in stolen bases. That will change.
Yes, certainly will. We talked about earlier just the variance of home runs that you would think would tilt their way towards their home park. They're built for 162 games to do every facet of the game.
Oh, that's Polanco at his best. Taking an inside pitch and fighting it off to right field. Victorino around to third, and they're on the corners with one out. That is Placido Polanco at his best.
Here's evidence of it. Just people in the right spot of the lineup, making the right decisions, hitting the ball the other way, first and third. Now you get the meat of your order coming up. These are classics. Stay inside. He didn't do anything. Didn't try and pull it. Knew what he wanted to do. Stayed inside of it. Again, we haven't seen the ball peppered around the park, but enough to do at this point what's given the Phillies a 2-0 advantage, and now they're looking to add on.
It's a great piece of hitting there. Utley tonight, 2 for 3. A double and a run scored in the fourth, a single and an RBI in the fifth. An off-speed pitch there for ball one. Chase 2 for 2 in his career against Medlin. Backed it up with another breaking ball, or another off-speed pitch. 1-1.
That's where Chase likes it. He got the changeup to go below what I call his hot, sweet zone that a lot of left-handers down and in. I've seen many times where he's golfed that ball and hit it 400 feet. Key would be is if he can stay there or go up above the hands, maybe get him to pop it up.
Got a good pitch to hit there and missed it. 1-2. First recollection I have of Chase Utley, when I first knew about Chase Utley, was at Citizens Bank Park in a pinch hit appearance, I believe, against you.
Oh my gosh, the split finger that dove the wrong way down and in, a mistake. And I watched it go into the bullpen.
That is out of play. But I just thought of him as being, this slight little middle infielder guy, Johnny Venters, who made such a great debut the other night against the Rockies, loosening up. We all quickly learned that Chase Utley's not some just little slap hitting middle infielder. Up the middle, diving stop by Escobar, and they get one, but that's all. That saved the base hit. Nice play by Unell, but a run scores. Utley has his second RBI of the night and the 14th of the year, and it's 3-0.
Real good hitting and a great defensive play to get the out. Looked like he was trying to flip it right away with the glove, but couldn't get hit out from underneath his body.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, that they might have had a chance for two, but he, in the diving effort, landed on his glove. So here's Howard, runner at first, 2 out. He's 1 for 3. He drove in the first run of the night with a single in the fourth off the ball of Troy Gloss.
To make that point we were talking about, Howard's career, brief career already, of his 225 home runs, almost a dead heat. On the road 117 and home 108.
See, and if you asked me about 225 homers, I would have said he hit 150 of them at home.
Absolutely.
And the rest of them here.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Took a little off. Good pitch, 1-2. Good work by the Braves pitchers tonight to limit the Phillies so far to 3 runs. Kyle Kendrick's been the story. He's fashioning a 3-hit shutout as Howard sends one high and deep to right toward the bullpen. Jason Hayward, right at the wall, makes the catch. 3-0 Phillies.
TV.
7th inning stretch time here at Turner Field. Phillies leading 3-0. Tommy Hanson, if you just joined us, worked 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, walked 1, struck out 4. And what got him tonight more than the Phillies was just his pitch count. He threw 102 pitches through 4 2/3. Chipper Jones leads off against Kendrick here in the 7th. Chipper is hit into a double play, and he is doubled, 1 for 2. Braves had the bases loaded in the 4th and 1 out. But Troy Gloss hit into a double play. That was their best scoring chance, their only one to date. 2-0 to Chipper. He'll be followed by Brian McCann and Troy Gloss. Chipper 5 for his last 12. Double and a homer included. Taking all the way, 2-1.
Well, statistically, it didn't look favorable for the Phillies when you had the stats that Kyle had coming in, and certainly was struggling. And Tommy, who's been throwing the ball great, seems like every time he goes out there, but that's why they don't play everything by statistics.
Into left center field, Victorino almost overran the ball. That looked like it was headed for the gap, and the Phillies center fielder tracked it down.
Chipper squared it up. The ball started going away, and in the last minute kind of came back. Handcuffs him, and he made a great play. He made that play look a lot easier than it actually was.
Reno's tracked down a couple the last couple of innings. 4 straight outs recorded by way of pop flies or pop-ups. Liner to left. A blue darter for Brian McCann. That beat the shift. And with a runner at first and 1 out, let's take a look at tonight's leaderboard, brought to you by the Sunshine House, a tradition of excellence in early education. And that has to do tonight with come-from-behind wins, and the Braves tied with the Cardinals for the most already on this season. 5 come-from-behind wins among their 7. Phillies with 4.
It's a big at bat right here because you've got 23 RBIs and your next 2 guys coming up to the plate. It'd be nice if Troy could get on via a hit.
It makes that play by Victorino that much bigger, too.
A little action in the Phillies bullpen. Looks like Contreras getting up.
The ageless one. Out of play, 0-2. Outfield shading Troy a little to pull. The 0-2 in the air to right. Worth should have no trouble with this one. 2 down. And some boot birds pop out. Troy Gloss. Jason Hayward, the batter, struck out in the second, fly to left in the fifth.
Kyle has pitched him about as good as you can pitch him, away from the zone. Got a benefit of a call early on, and has not really given Jason anything to be comfortable as far as pitches to hit.
Beauty there, 0-1. Sure, the Phillies are pleased to see this Kyle Kendrick versus the one that only went an inning and 2/3 against Washington on the 14th.
See, right there is 2 perfect pitches. I mean, when you're standing on the mound, you're looking at this guy batting at the plate. Looks like he's away from the plate, and that pitch looks enticing. But bring that pitch 2 to 3 inches back over the plate, and you've seen the power that he could display going the other way.
Fought that one off. A ball and 2 strikes.
And you know what? We haven't seen many cutters. He's stayed with that philosophy that I'm going to throw this sinker and keep throwing the sinker. Let you keep hitting it at my defense. It's paid off, and maybe somebody got to him. Maybe tomorrow night's pitcher got to him a little bit and gave him a little bit of that insight.
Bouncer over the mound. And an easy play for Castro. He steps on second. End of the inning. McCann single leads to nothing. We've played 7. 3-0 Phils. To know, I always see the backwards K on the strikeouts lined up at the stadium. What does it mean? Well, they don't have any lined up there backwards tonight, Rebecca. They should have, because Placido Polanco took a called third strike in the first inning. But if you see a backwards K, it means that the hitter took a called third strike as opposed to a swing and a miss. And that first one there ought to be backwards. Jason Worth. 1 for 2. Make it 1 for 3. He reached on a wild pitch his last time up after striking out. Big cut 0-1. Worth hitting .341. He had a check swing double in the second inning, the first hit for the Phillies. And then Utley got their first rally started in the fourth with a check swing double down the third base line. Both of those were against Tommy Hanson. Medlin out there for his second inning, ahead 0-2. Got him looking. There is a backwards K, Rebecca. Put it in your book. I know John just did in his new scorebook.
Flawless so far. Great two-seam fastball comes back over the plate. Nothing you're going to do about it. That ball is out as a ball when it leaves his hand, and the last part ends up as a strike. Tip your hat if you're the hitter.
Yep. All he could do. Ibanez 0 for 13. 0 for his last 13 coming into tonight's game, and he's reached 3 times. Had a base hit in the fourth, sandwiched in between a couple of walks. Good fastball. Over but low, 1-1. High, 2-1.
This game can eat you up. We're early in the season. This is a game, if you're a Braves player sitting in the dugout, you're going, how's it 3-0? How? And then not to mention, you know who you're facing tomorrow. But at the same time, when the season plays out, these are the type of games, these are the mix and match. You're going up against them. You feel like your outcome will be better if it stays like this. If you're a pitcher and you limit the damage that they can do, your team's going to come out on top.
Diaz has that one, 2 out. Well, remember the Braves saw Roy Halladay last year when he came into town with the Blue Jays, and he got matched up with Kenshin Kawakami. And while Halladay did not get the loss, Kenshin bested him and beat the Blue Jays that night. Two out for Castro. He's 1 for 3.
But the hard part for a young pitcher, and people don't understand, because you're going to answer questions. You could be 1-2. You've given up what, four runs in your 3 starts. You know you could be 3-0, and yet the season hasn't started out statistically the way you want. The focus is stay throwing like that, limit some pitches like tonight, try to figure a way to get some quicker results. But there's no changes that need to be made. He's throwing the ball great.
But I understand his pitch count tonight. I mean, we talked about their lineup and how tough it is, right, especially with all those lefties. I can understand how you can go to some deep counts, even though he was getting ahead of the hitters. Just didn't want to make a mistake that you know could come quickly if they pop one in the seats. They're so capable. Broken bat grounder. Prado will handle. And the Phillies go quietly in the 8th. Good work by Medlin. Bottom third of the order due up for the Braves. They need some offense, trailing 3-0.
For your favorite comedies: The Office, Friends, Seinfeld, Family Guy, House of Pain, and John Smoltz. They got down here? Yeah, John Smoltz.
The John Smoltz Show. Yeah, I'll be sure to tune in. That is a laugh riot night. You can hang in there till the Smoltz Show. You know, Escobar, 0 for 2 tonight. A couple of ground outs. That said the John Smoltz Goober Show, and I'd understand.
It's catchy. It's catching on, Joe.
2-0. Kyle Kendrick has thrown only 89 pitches. He's been very efficient, only had one stressful inning. That was the fourth, and he got just what he wanted. Second and third, one out. He walked McCann, pitched to Glaus, and got the double play to get out of the inning. To third, and Polanco right there. One out. He got a double play in the first inning and only had to face 3 batters. Retired the side in order in the second and third, and the fifth, and the sixth. The last inning, only had to face 4 hitters.
When you look at him as a hitter, he's got just a little bit of a hitch, just a little bit of a delay, and then he comes at you with that power sinker. So far, everything has worked efficiently from pitch. Well, he's got about 90 pitches, a lot of ground balls.
I would have to say, though, credit either Rich Doobie or maybe, as you suggested, Roy Halladay for getting him to get away from the cutter and just stick with what he knows best, and that's the sinker slider. And he's had an excellent sinker tonight. Nate McLeod, a couple of ground outs. Braves have 4 hits, 2 by Prado, a double by Chipper, and a single by McCann. Everyone else has got the collar working. It's a little different than his last line against Washington, which was an inning and 2/3, 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks. 3-1 now to McLeod. And his only walk was the intentional pass to McCann. Until now. And Eric Hinsky will pinch hit. Well, he's been a good addition to this ball club. Made a couple of starts. He's 4 for 13 with a double and a triple, but more importantly, 3 for 8 as a pinch hitter with 3 RBIs. And he goes after the first pitch and sends it foul down the left field line.
Pretty sure this could be his last hitter. Could be, especially if he gives up a base runner here. Let's get the Braves to the top of the lineup with potential tying run at the plate. Would be a good thing here.
He's off a breaking ball that stayed out. Contreras, the right-hander, Bastardo, the left-hander. And again, J.C. Romero still on the disabled list. Their left-handed setup man. One. Matt Diaz would be next. 3-0 Phils. Braves running out of outs. And for the second straight hitter, he's gone 3-1.
Trailing 3-0. You don't have, this pitch doesn't have to, it's got to be keyhole for Eric. It's got to be the pitch he likes.
Pitch number 100 from Kendrick. And he pulls it right down the line, but oh, just foul, says Tony Randazzo. Bobby Cox out to argue. Hinske upset with that call. Eric Hinske had a good view of it too. All it has to do is go over the bag fair. You can see Hinske's response. Looked like a double for sure, at least. Full count. Runner goes. Fouled back. Tough thing for a hitter, too, after you put a good swing on a ball, thought you had extra bases, only to have it called foul. You got to regroup as a hitter.
Yes, you do. Got to find a way to get on base, bring that tying run to the plate.
And get back into the at-bat and go through the way he's worked you already. Ruiz knows that this might well be Kendrick's last batter. With a right-hander coming up, they may want a fresh arm to work to Diaz, but let's see what they decide to do here. 3-2. They don't want to put him on and risk bringing the tying run to the plate. Runner goes. Hard hit up the middle, but Utley stayed home. So he's going to get the out at first. If Utley covers there, it's probably a base hit. So some tough luck there for Hinske. No sign from Charlie Manuel that he's coming out, so Kendrick will get a chance to work to Diaz. Their bullpen ERA is 3.5 or so, not bad as a group. But they are missing Brad Lidge. They're missing J.C. Romero. Hard to say if Charlie Manuel has gained a lot of confidence in those that are filling in those roles. Diaz tonight 0 for 3. Down the line and a slice foul.
It's awfully nice to have some of those issues they have, that you can cover your ball club even when the closer has a hiccup and blows a few saves, that you can come back and win. They're finding ways to get it done. That's why they've been the elite of the National League the last 2 years. They plug up their holes fine. They outscore you if they have to, and they'll find ways to get it done even when they have some injuries or their closer is currently not on the roster.
Foul on the third. If they make it back to the World Series this year, they'll be the first National League team to go to 3 straight World Series since the St. Louis Cardinals did it back in the 40s.
And I don't think Ryan Matson gets us enough credit as he deserves. He's had some pretty tough roles to play back and forth, filling in. I think there for a while in the playoffs they were going with the hot hand.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to know when you got a defined role and who the guy is, but they did it many different ways.
Check swing from Diaz. Fortunately, roll foul. Well, the Braves offense, while it has had moments of glory, including opening day and then big outbursts against the Rockies, they are in danger of being shut out for the 3rd time in 5 games here at home. In their last 5 games here at home. Going back to the last game against the Cubs. has a tough out, though, in these situations, as we saw. 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Behind in the count, 1-2. That one gets to the screen. And McLeod will be at third on what will probably be a wild pitch. Nope, pass ball. I thought it was in the dirt. No, he just got waffled.
Better that happen with the man on second than the man on third, obviously. He's still got a chance to get out of the inning unscathed.
Kendrick will stay in the stretch. Count 2-2 now to Diaz. Broken bat, slow roller. Polanco makes the play. Braves leave a runner at third, and we go to the ninth. Phillies still leading 3-zip. Probably good play of the game. And this was the backbreaker for the Braves offense. It came in the fourth inning. Bases loaded, one out, a 5-4-3 double play. That got the Phillies out of the jam. Get ready for ice cold bliss with the new Zaxby's milkshakes. See if Kendrick gets to finish the ball game. Braves will have the heart of the order. Prado, Chipper, and McCann due up in the ninth. But first, Jesse Chavez comes on, makes his 5th appearance. And just 1 walk to 7 strikeouts for him. All these guys in the bullpen for the Braves have excellent walk to strikeout ratios. Carlos Ruiz starts the night for the Phillies. Ruiz tonight, 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts. And I guess that question's been answered right there with Greg Dobbs in the on-deck circle. He'll hit to Kendrick. Broken back grounded to Escobar, 1 out.
Well, like we said, bad news were the numbers he was sporting coming into the game. Good news is he had a lot of time this year to work on them, and he has carved off a good portion of that ERA with 8 strong innings.
He came into the game with a 17.5 ERA. Greg Dobbs 1 for 8 to start the season. 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter. Swings at the first pitch and fights off fastball 0-1. Again, Tim Hudson and Roy Halladay tomorrow night. We'll be with you at 7 o'clock right here on Peachtree TV. He went from a 17.47 ERA to 7.24. Hal, that's knocking 10 runs off your ERA. That's good stuff for Kendrick. Roy Halladay, 2 walks to 21 strikeouts. That's pretty good too. Tim Hudson's been outstanding. It's going to be a good matchup.
A good chance that Halladay will have less walks than starts this year.
Is his control that good?
Yeah, he's done it a few times.
That's Maddox like too, isn't
yeah.
it? In the dirt, Dobbs doesn't offer. Do you know what your longest stretch was without walking anybody?
I don't offhand. I know I did it as a closer for quite some time. Didn't walk anybody. But as a starter, I'm not sure it's anything eye-popping. Latter part of my career had real good control compared to the wildness that existed early on.
Look out in the dugout. My goodness. Guys in the dugout are looking up above the dugout roof, but I thought that went in the dugout.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Maddox's streak got broken on an intentional walk.
I think it did too.
Situation called for it. Streak took a back seat to it.
In the air to right. Jason broke back, but he'll come in and make the play. 2 down. And Shane Victorino, the batter, he's 1 for 4 with a run scored. And a couple of good defensive plays in center field. Rob Chipper of a base hit and extra bases back in the 6th.
Didn't Bill Fisher have the record?
He might have.
I think he. I remember seeing his name where Maddox was going after.
Good 96 fastball from Jesse Chavez. Victorino out of Hawaii. A flying Hawaiian. Was that one foul?
Bill Fisher, 84 and a third innings. Maddox had 72 and a third.
I'm sorry, I called you Goober.
Goober had a little knowledge there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. One and 2 the count. Would expect to see Ryan Madsen in the 9th to finish things up for the Phillies. Good inning for Jesse Chavez. Good change up there, gets Victorino. Phillies go quietly in the 9th. Prado, Chipper, and McCann due up. We go to the bottom of the ninth, and fans, here's a reminder to stay tuned after the game for the AT&T game summary. AT&T, rethink possible. And the closer, the right now closer for the Philadelphia Phillies is Ryan Madson, and he's on for his 7th game. No record of .450 ERA. He has 3 saves.
Early on, guys that are coming up have a little bit of a success against him. Jones is hitting .455, and Mr. Prado's hitting .667. But again, as we talk, Ryan Madson can rush it up there. He's got a great changeup, good complement of pitches, throws downhill, and has done a nice job filling in as the now acting closer for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And starts Prado with a strike at 94. 3/4 to sidearm delivery, hard on right-handers, but the Braves hit him pretty hard last year. 10 games, he had a 6.14 ERA. Gave up 5 earned runs in 7 innings.
The deception on that pitch with the lanky delivery he has, that's a great pitch. That miles per hour is about 10 to 12 miles off of his fastball. Hitter goes to attack a fastball, can't get it, looks foolish on that pitch.
Out of play. Martin must see the ball out of his hand better than most right-handers with his numbers against him. 4 for 6. Braves need base runners. They trail 3-0. To short. Castro, 1 out. Martin is 2 for 4. Chipper steps in 1 for 3. He's hit the ball hard twice tonight. Doubled in the 4th, lined out in the 7th. Hit into a double play in the 1st inning. Five for 11. I believe he told the folks 5 for 11 with a homer against Madson.
Chip.
Need to get a couple of guys on. Two 2-0. Mets beat the Cubs. Brewers beat the Pirates. Rockies 10-4 over Washington. They're in the 8th. Dodgers and Cincinnati tied 9-9 in the 8th. Two and 1. 93. When he needs to hump it up a little bit, he can.
People think about closing. You either got to have a dominant pitch, a trick pitch, but you just got to be able to make pitches in the 9th inning when you got to record these last 3 outs. And that might call for throwing your changeup 3-1, 3-2, your off-speed pitches, but you just got to believe you're that much better than the guys that are bringing at the plate, and you're going to get that first guy out, which dims the hopes of the other team, always keeps you within a double play of getting out of the inning.
Ball 4 to Chipper. That's a start.
And I guarantee you the guys who have been great for years, they don't even worry about the tying run being the one at plate, the tying run being on deck. They're just worried about getting outs. And if you start thinking about all the scenarios that can happen, there's a good chance it's going to happen. You just want to get outs. You don't care if this guy goes to second. You don't care if he scores. I mean, statistically it affects you, but you don't care. You want to get that third out before the team has tied the game. And 3 outs are easy to get over the course of the game, but the last 3 outs can get a little bit tense.
Yeah, get those 3 outs and then game over. Ryan McCann's going to make him throw a strike, and he does. Brian singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2 with an intentional walk. Madson is 29 years old, 6'6", 200 pounds, out of Long Beach, California. He's in his 7th year in the big leagues. Good cut. Count 0-2. Last year, Madson had 10 saves when he was asked to fill in for Lidge. Went 5-5 with a 3.26 ERA. Struck out an average of a batter an inning. To left field. Ibanez was playing deep, and he's there for the out. 2 down. Braves down to their last out, and Troy Gloss will be the batter. Phillies bullpen's only allowed 2 home runs in their first 37 innings. Braves have only had 1 hit since the 4th inning when they loaded the bases, and that was the single by McCann in the 7th. Big swing and a miss by Troy. Oh for 3 tonight. Need him to reach to bring Hayward to the plate and give the Braves a chance to tie it. Gloss 0 for 2 in his career against Madsen. Well hit deep left. Back goes Ibanez. That's got a chance. That's gone. Home run, Troy Gloss. 3-2. Man, did that get out of here in a hurry.
On the tee, sat back, 2-run homer. Now he's going to get 1 more out before the heroics of Mr. Hayward come into play.
Second home run for Troy. RBI is 7 and 8. And you just said you don't worry about anybody except the tying run. Well, he's got something to worry about now.
He does, and the more reps you've been in this situation, the more you realize that 2 runs kind of stings, but it's not put your club in a bad situation. 2 outs, 1 out to get. You get the save. Nobody cares about it. 2, 3, 4, 5 days.
Jason Hayward 0 for 3. He's been pulling some magic out of his hat already this season. And he takes a strike. He's been doing that a lot with pitchers it's not seen, of course, just to see the ball out of their hand. Very patient. Well hit right center field. Victorino going back. He looks up. We've got a tie game. More magic from 22.
Pretty special.
You ever seen anything like this?
No.
Unbelievable. Escobar first pitch swinging, backhanded by Castro. Long throw got him. But not before the Braves jump on Ryan Madsen. Back-to-back homers by Troy Gloss and Jason Hayward. We're tied at 3. To make it a 3-2 game. But this pitch to Hayward was out away from him that he shot, John.
It was. Probably not as sharp of a sinker as he wanted. He painted the first pitch with it, and he went out and got it. That's the view you get as a pitcher. Get outside, you can get it, but he reaches it. And if you look back in this inning, the thing that stands out to me is the walk. You can deal with 2 solo home runs. That walk set up everything to even make this possible for Hayward. And lo and behold, we got a new game. One pitcher did not deserve a loss. He got the no decision in Tommy Hanson, and one pitcher deserved a win, and he gets a no decision in Kyle Kendrick.
So let's start over. Billy Wagner gets the call to work the 10th. He's in his 6th game. No decisions, a 3.60 ERA. And he faces the heart of the Phillies order. Polanco, Utley, and Howard. 1-0 to Polanco. Ryan Madsen gave up 2 homers in the 9th. Their bullpen had only given up 2 on the season. 95 in that gas from Wagner. Off the thumbs. Wagner will have to make a play. He'll have to hurry. Got him.
I think that was 102 miles to first base. That's how fast he threw that one. Per hour.
He didn't rush himself.
He trusted his good arm strength here and let it fly. Easier play for a left-hander.
Had plenty to spare. Chase Utley, 2 for 4. He's scored a run. He's driven one in.
For 10 off of Wags. Shows you how tough he is and stays in against left-handers. One of the best left-handers in the game. And he's able to produce a 400 average at 10 at-bats.
Part of that, John, I think has to go to the fact that he's rarely off balance. You rarely get him to be out on his front foot. Very short, if any, stride. Just lets his hands do the work.
Well, it's something for a hitter if you can really trust your hands and you don't have to get your body involved to generate your power. You can flip your hands. You can do things that a lot of hitters only wish they can do. And to your point, Joe, it makes him doubly tough to pitch to.
And then even with that short stride and powerful swing, he's hitting balls in the upper deck in Philadelphia all the time, and he sends one deep. Hayward goes back. Short of the track. He's got room, and 2 down. Ryan Howard's 1 for 4 with an RBI. Had a base hit off the glove of Gloss to drive in a run back in the 4th inning. Wagner pitched for the Phillies back in 2004 and 2005. Saved 21 games in 04, 38 games for them in 05. One and one. They got him from the Astros for Brandon Duckworth, Taylor Buchholz, and Ezekiel Estacio. 2-1 to Howard.
A lot of people that drove home heard this finish on the radio.
Yeah. Oops. Howard 3 for 11 against Wagner. Moves off that fastball. 3-1. Jason Worth would be next. Be careful here. Big swing and a miss. 96 on that fastball at the letters. Can you throw the ball by him up and in? Can you go upstairs on him?
It's a very small window. It really is. And it's one many guys don't want to try. Lefty on lefty, maybe get away with it a little bit more.
96, put him away. Wagner gets him 1, 2, 3. The Braves will come up in the 10th. Nate McLeod, the pitcher spot, and Matt Diaz due up. Seconds to round the bases. That's flying.
That's what I like, though. Get it done. Get in your trot. Act like you've done it before, and certainly he's approached this in a very professional way.
Game winner Sunday, game tire on Tuesday. Both with 2 out in the 9th. Jose Contreras, the new pitcher for the Phillies. And Nate McLeod takes a strike. Contreras in his 5th game. 3 2/3 innings. Only 1 hit allowed. No runs. No walks. 6 strikeouts. Listed at 38 years old. Has an excellent split finger pitch. Had some arm troubles in recent years, though, and if he can stay healthy, the Phillies will have themselves a good find for their bullpen. 2-2. McLeod tonight 0 for 2 with a walk. Great to have him lead off the inning by reaching. Instead, he drives one to right and deep. Work looks up. This game is over. Nate McLeod leads off the 10th with a game winner. Where is everybody? Silent treatment.
They left.
4-3 Atlanta. Game over, team gone.
That's perfect.
I've never seen that one before.
That is perfect. That's as good as it gets.
Oh, that's awesome. Silent treatment on a walk-off.
You're not showing up the other team with any kind of acting. You're just basically
a little private celebration.
Yeah. A hanging split. He knew it as soon as he hit it. Tell you what, you can never take anything for granted.
In the background, you can see everybody already heading down the tunnel.
Best part is they're planning it. They got it planned.
A no-doubter for the game winner. What a comeback by Atlanta. They win it 4-3. And nobody in the dugout. What a finish. Braves with only 4 hits through 8 innings got off the deck and down on the field, joined by Jason Hayward. What a finish, Jason. Nice going.
Yes, sir. Way to go, Braves.
I mean, to tell you, with Troy Gloss hitting the 2-run homer, it had to inspire you a little bit.
No, I mean, that was, totally get on base right there. That was my approach. He came fastball first pitch. I just relaxed. I had changeup in my mind, and I got one and put a short swing on it.
Jason, this is John Smoltz. I don't think people realize how hard it is as a young player to face pitchers you've never faced. Where are you drawing most of your information? Is it from Chipper? Is it from Terry? Is it video? How are you drawing your conclusions when you get to the plate?
John, I got to say all of the above, man. Every bit of information I can gather, I'm taking it in, Use what you have. And there's definitely an advantage here in the big leagues, to be able to watch film and be able to, go up and talk to guys that have faced guys, more than once. And it's very helpful.
We're watching the replay of you running the bases, but you were kind of talking to the ball a little bit, too, running down the first baseline, weren't you?
Most definitely talking to the ball. You got to tell it to get up and get out of there,
Well, quite a sprint around the bases. And then Nate McLeod comes through leading off the 10th, and it's almost like you guys had it planned. I mean, it looked like a vacuum. It sucked all you guys out of the dugout.
No, that was it. We got down the tunnel. I heard we never had a walk-off home run at home, And then we went down the tunnel. We saw it right away. I didn't know how to react. It was like, okay, do we go meet him at the plate? No, everybody ran down the tunnel. We met him down there, and it was awesome.
Well, way to go, Jason. You're handling yourself with utmost professionalism. And sorry it was a day off in between the dramatics. That would have been nice to have it back-to-back, but in essence it is. And good luck the rest of the series.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it, man.
Nice going, Jason, and thanks for being with us.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Quite a finish. Phillies in complete control of this ball game. And the 3 homers out of the last 4 batters against the Phillies bullpen. And Nate McLeod caps off a tremendous comeback. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.